Well, I know that every printmaker learns the ins and outs of their press. Everybody knows their own press. This press hasn't always been mine, but I always worked on it, so I knew it when I got the opportunity to get this press. I grabbed it because I already knew how it worked. And the wonderful thing with this press is it has a 24-48 press bed, which is larger than I could have bought if I had to buy it new. So it gave me a nice size press bed. And on my press bed, I have the graphite, and I have sort of a template of where I'm going to place my plates. TREES BFK printmaking paper. I'm using cream, and I have one piece of tan. This paper's made in France, quite wonderful. It's 100% cotton, and it's sized for printmaking, for ink. Now while my paper's soaking in its water bath, I'm going to get my ink ready. I use a glass palette, and I mix my own inks. I use an oil-based ink, and I tend to mix my own ink. And today I'm mixing raw sepia and burnt sienna. I'm also an oil painter. It's another reason I like oil-based ink. It feels right to me. It mixes right to me. Maybe we're going to use St. Witness to reduce what you got here. I'm sorry, now it's going to...
I've always wanted to watch you do this anyway.
Oh, well. I don't have all this stuff put away, so I'm like, it's here. And that should be, but I didn't get that far yet. Okay, now I'm mixing my ink. I didn't put out a lot, but it's okay. Alright, I'm mixing my ink, and we're going to print. This is a drop of plate oil. I like my ink creamy, so it's just a matter, it's like a painting medium for oil. When I do this, I'm mixing oil-based ink. And I just mix my ink till I get a consistency that feels right to me. What I'm printing today are plates that I've already etched. I'll show you how I etch them into the metal another day. But right now, I'm just going to print what we've already got etched and pull some prints. I recycle lots of phone books, and these I also recycle. These are just pieces of mat board that I get from my framer. And etching's been around hundreds of years, probably 500 or more. And this process has not changed, this part. I'm not sure Rembrandt had phone books, but I'm sure he used something. I'm putting the ink into this plate, and I'll push it 4 ways. North, south, east, west, up, down. And the image has already been etched into the metal, and all I'm doing is working the ink into the plate. This particular plate is popular. It's, I call my TREES. Yeah. This particular one is called a birch tree. And I print this series of little trees together. They're quite popular. A lot of people can relate to trees. it's a small print, and just like in Rembrandt's time, people that felt they could not afford perhaps an original oil painting, but they could afford an etching. It was an affordable art medium. And then it stands on its own, and today people will have etching collections. That's my birch tree. You need to zoom in. Now I'm going to place this on the press bed. However, I'm not going to print it yet. I'm going to just going to place it, and I have two others that I want to print along with it so that it's a series. I have this template on the press bed for it. Now, this one, that was my birch tree. This one's my Jersey scrub pine. I grew up in South Jersey, so these kind of crooked, crazy little pine trees, they're not that little, are all over the place. They do not have a Christmas tree shape. They're just kind of very irregular all over. They drop needles and make pine cones. These small plates, I believe these are 2 by 3 inches. So again, it's quite an affordable etching. A lot of inking is done by hand. And plates are impossible to ink the same way twice, so this is what gives every hand-pulled print an original, because they can't be inked the same way twice. And what I'm doing right now is cleaning my edges. Because if your edges aren't clean, that's going to come. The paper soaking in the water bath, that wet paper wants to pull just what's on the plate, not the edge of the metal. This one's my pine tree. And my last one here is my oak tree. I've always liked trees. There's a lot of my work that have trees in it in some way. I relate to nature. I have a series of plates that dandelions, milkweed, where they go through the whole process of seed to bloom, to the pod. And the next thing you can edit is, the ink is feeling very sticky, so I don't know what kind of print we're going to get. If we don't get a good print, we'll have to do this again.
You can tell by the feel of it?
Yeah. Do this together rather quickly. You'll see. One thing with etchings, you can get multiples, and you can look at a number, they're hand signed. The other thing to keep in mind, it might say 6 of something, 6 of 45. You might have to print more than 6 to get 6. More likely you will, till you get everything perfected the way you want. And the little thing on this little oak tree, what I like, is I like to get a contrast of lights and darks. One of the things I like is to get light branch. Just sort of highlighting a few spots where I'd like the ink to be lighter. I'd like it a little darker. Okay, let's see what we got. 3 2x3 plates. So I have an oak, a pine, and a birch. Now, take off my hands. This is my paper. My blotters. This just removes the excess water. Now what I want to do is just get a good registration for my paper and my print. I don't want it crooked, my framer hates me. I have to leave enough room for me to sign it, enough room for him to mat and frame it. My first press blanket's rather thin. This is my middle, your pusher, your catcher blankets. And this is my thickest blanket, the third one. Okay. There's a lot of pressure set here. I don't change my plates. I change from copper to zinc sometimes, but I keep the consistency and thickness on my metal. So this press is set for me and my work, my plates. And now we have our moment of truth. We're going to have our hand-pulled. So I lift the blankets, and let's see what we got. We may have to.
Oh, wow.
And I have fun with this. I love my little trees. Now what I'll be doing, goes to the dry rack, but when I sign this, I have a log. I'll sign the edition number here. I name my trees. And my signature will be over here. So we're going into the dry rack. They'll dry overnight. And hand pulled is 1. The next print, we ink, or we're not gonna. The only way we can get another one is to repeat that process. Now these little ones go rather quickly. A larger plate takes a little more work to ink.